Hey guys, before we start, please remember to leave a like, leave a comment, and obviously subscribe. If you guys are interested in me reviewing other types of games, definitely hit that notification bell so you're up to date when I upload a next video. And please share the video. So without further ado, let's get right into this game. What's up guys, Paragon Fox here. Welcome back to the series Golds of Game Pass. Today we're going to be looking at World War Z 2021. Okay, so World War Z, at least right now in 2021, it's your typical zombie game, Had this game come out maybe 5-10 years ago, maybe at the height of the zombie genre, sensation, it would have been a great game. But as of right now, it's just your standard zombie game. Yes, it has World War Z, which is, which makes you want to think, oh, it's like the movie or it's like the book. It is like neither of them. It does not inspire from the movie, which is very different from the book, and it does not, get its inspiration from the book, which is very different from the movie. So it's its own thing. But the best I could do to describe it, it's your Left 4 Dead-ish game. That's what World War Z is, and it has this class setup that try to make it a little bit unique in that aspect. You have different classes, each one plays a little bit different, each of them give you their own perks, their own disadvantages, etc, etc, etc. But at the end of the day, you're here for the hordes. You want to play this game because of the hordes, about how many zombies they could put at the screen and how many you could kill. That is what makes this game fun at most times, especially with friends. You might be walking down a corridor and boom, you get jumped by a complete horde of zombies. And I think it shines the most in close quarter areas than in outside areas. The reason I say this is because in outside areas, it's very not easy, but it's a little bit safer, a little bit less intense to take on a horde. But when you're in close quarter combat, that's where shit hits the fan. That's where this game really fucking shines. It really takes its own its own spin on this genre of zombies that have been used forever. Now you might say, well, Left 4 Dead hordes, when they arrived. Yes, but remember that game is over 10 years old at this point, and they just did not have the capability to add so many zombies as this game does, and that's something that this game does beautifully. It's just how many zombies it could throw at you, how many special zombies it could throw at you, and just make you feel like, oh my god, we are actually fighting hordes and hordes of zombies, and that's just incredible. But the story you follow, it's like old style Call of Duty. If you remember the first Call of Duties, they have different campaigns for each allied force. You had the Russians, you had the French, the Americans, etc. Same here. You have, maybe you start in New York City, now you're in Moscow, now you're in fucking Japan, etc, etc, etc. So they did take that from the book, I think, because in the book you have different perspectives on different people, because it's more of a diary. The game, I guess, takes inspiration from that, so you have different campaigns in different settings. But besides that, I mean, none of the characters are really, it's like, wow, this character is really unique, this character is very fun, his dialogue is very nice. Honestly, they're just, they're your typical, just avatar, typical character you get to choose. And that's about it. You don't really get nothing else besides that. It does not matter. The class is where it makes your character be more unique, but in general, it's just, I really couldn't care about the backstories. I just couldn't, and it might piss off people, but I mean, their backstories is just that. You could read the lore, you could hear a little bit of dialogue here and there, but besides that, I really did not care about them. Like, I really did not care at all about them. Like, I could be playing whichever character gave me randomly, and I just wouldn't be like, oh, I wish I could play the other guy. It's just not the case, So it's just standard zombie game with different campaigns and a horde mode, I think they added, and a fucking multiplayer, which is a multiplayer. I mean, we'll get into that later. But yeah, that's basically what World War Z is. So what is fun about this game? Really, I think it's only the first time you play it around. Not to sound like a dick or anything, but this game, it has the same issue it had at the beginning, which is the lack of content. Granted, this game was not the full $60. It is not a AAA game, nor is it an indie game. It's more like a AA game, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it's really fun when you first play around. You get to experience the whole world that the developers made. It's very fun when you have all these guns that you're leveling up, that you're playing through, all these characters, sorry, all these classes that you're trying, and it's pretty fun, the special weapons that you have, or the heavy weapons as this game calls it, your explosives, your nades, the unique abilities that your class gives to the team. They're really fun to play around with the first time you get this game, It's really fun with friends, especially, when you're all having fun, you're all fighting a horde and all this. Really fun, the crates that you find that might give you a weapon you like. You find a weapon that they're actually comfortable with. You're using that weapon. It's quite enjoyable that first time around. But after you beat the main campaign, we get into the situation of it's just repetition. You might grind to level up your classes, level up the weapons, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people love that type of games. Love the grind for it, and that's also another aspect of this game that's really quite fucking fun. It's that little grind that you're doing. The grind to get better stuff, so you can try out the higher difficulties. And let me tell you, the difficulties do get more intense as the round goes, and it becomes harder and harder and harder. When you first start out, I always say, start out in the second hardest difficulty, never normal, always the second hardest. Just to give yourselves a little bit of a challenge in that game. But do that in this game, and you're gonna get fucked very quickly. I mean, it is very brutal. This game, it does not hold back. It really goes full blown. I'm gonna fuck you if you try a harder difficulty before you're ready. So definitely do grind out for those levels, for those classes. Get that class leveled up, get those guns leveled up. It has every time you complete a mission or a campaign section, you gain these tokens, those in-game tokens that you could use to purchase weapon upgrades or class upgrades, as long as you're leveling them up. So that's pretty good. It actually forces you, well, not forces you, but it actually makes you want to go back, play through the game, get some level ups, get some points so you can level them up. And sure, this game does have cosmetics. That's another addition that might be fun for some people. For me personally, I couldn't give a shit. I couldn't give a rat's ass about it. It's cosmetics. They don't do anything else. The DLC, from what I've heard and what have I played of it, it's okay. Nothing big. It's just another extra campaign that they added to it. Nothing I can say, oh, it's super fun or super bad. The game modes that this game has, very typical of a zombie game. Very enjoyable with friends. Highly recommend playing this game with your friend, or if solo. Don't put AIs, completely do it solo, just so you have a challenge, and you will have fun in this game. It is a fun little game, but it does have its issues, its major issues. But again, it's really fucking fun. I really recommend it, especially when you're playing with your friends. So what was the bad thing about this game? The boring, and it's your standard zombie game. It really is it really is just that. It came out at a time when the zombie genre is just overflowing with all types of zombie games, from indie to big games, and it just brings nothing new, nothing that really makes you say, wow, I should pick this up over the other types of games that they have. And that's quite sad, honestly, because this game is really nice. It visually looks nice. The amount of zombies that it has on the screen thrown at you, trying to kill you, that's really nice too. I guess that's what it has going for it, just the sheer amount of zombies. So I can't wait if they ever do an upgrade for next gen, if they're gonna add more, or what's gonna happen there. I'm sorry, current gen, Xbox Series X and the PS5. I don't know what they're gonna do there. Maybe they could enhance it. I don't know. But in general, it came out too late. It honestly came out too late. Had this game come out, maybe like a couple of years after Left 4 Dead 2, maybe just a couple of it would have, gotten a lot of praise. It would have been a fun game to play. But sadly, as it stands right now, it's just a little bit too late. It's a little bit too late. This genre has, it's been done and over so many times with different twists, different mechanics, and this one just perfects a lot of what, makes zombie games fun. It does a lot of things good, but it's just the lack of content and the simple fact that it just came out way too late in the zombie lifespan. Let's be honest, how many zombie games have we not played? And it's just a little bit boring, in that aspect. Like I said, after you finish the full campaign, after you try the different game modes, they have a multiplayer with zombies, which, I mean, that's nice, I guess, but, it doesn't bring you back enough times for you to be like, oh, I want to keep playing this game over and over again. Because honestly, I was one of those fans for this game when it came out. I came out, I downloaded, played it, I fell in love with it, I liked it. It was a very good zombie shooter. But after a while, after I maxed out my class, after I started spending more time in other classes, it just got very repetitive because there was just not much to do after that. And, after a while, I feel bad for those players who I left after maybe like 3 months. In 3 months after this game came out, I left probably around that time. I did come back once the updates started to roll in. They added a new campaign mission for Tokyo. They added new stuff, new etc. I came back to it, but even then, it was just there wasn't much to do. And I came back, played it for maybe a month or two more, and then I just left. I just stopped playing, and I feel bad for those guys who just never stopped, who have everything maxed out, who are really good at this game. There isn't anything new there. Now you could say, oh, that's the problem with every game. With every game, playing the multiplayer that it has, it'll be unique every time. But that's not the point. The point is that it's just there isn't much to do for your average Joe, and that's kind of bad. I can't really say anything negative about the mechanics. The mechanics work well. The gameplay is really good. It's not bad. Sometimes I believe the hit system's a little bit fucking, it's a little bit fucking stupid, but that's besides the point. Overall, it's fun. It's just that it has those issues of not having enough to do. Even today, at 2021, after it came out, a couple years after it came out, there just isn't enough things to do. There isn't something that really makes me want to stay in this game, and that's sad. The developers are obviously giving it support, giving it love, and that's great. That's fantastic. They should do that, but it still isn't enough. It still isn't enough, and I think this is the problem that the double A, games have. We expect them to deliver triple A quality of content, but they're not. They're just a little bit higher than indie. They have the resources, but they don't have all the resources that a AAA studio has, or developers have. So this is, I think, where it suffers the most, and you can really tell. It's just that the lack of content. The game they made, if it was an indie game, trust me, if this was a full indie game, this would have been praised up and down. Because it would have been by a small studio, you would have been like, holy shit, this is amazing for a small indie studio. But since they're not indie and they're not AAA, this weird limbo that they're stuck in is just really bad for them. It's really bad for them, and this is where the game suffered. It's just that the content, the issue that it had, and that's the issue it has still in 2021, sadly. So since this game is not a AAA game, nor is it an indie game, it falls right in between both of them, I have to give them a different score. So instead of our standard 5 for an indie or 10 for a AAA game, we're going to go with a 7 scale, okay? And this game gets a solid 5. Solid 5. The mechanics play very well, the way you compose of a team, the classes that it has, the maps that you're given, within the game. All of it is fine. The problem is just the content. That's really all the problem that this game has. It's a fun little zombie game. It's nothing we haven't seen before, but it's just very nice with the amount of zombies that it throws at you. And I feel people will have fun with this game, but it's just, don't expect to be here, all day. Don't expect this to be your Left 4 Dead game where you can come back once and twice and 3 times and have fun with it. After a while, it does get a little bit tedious and a little bit, just repeating the same things. It doesn't change too much. So there is that. I do recommend this with friends. It is a fun little game, so do give it a try. Download it. It's on the Game Pass. I think you will enjoy it, but just don't expect a game that's gonna suck so much time out of you. It's a fun little zombie game, and just play it. It's really fun. Does not follow the movie. Does not follow the books. And it's its own little thing, and it's very fun to be in this world. But sadly, it just doesn't have enough content.